Hey guys, this is Lisa Capron from lisacapron.com, and I'm coming to you today to talk to you about the risks of too much added sugar in your diet. Sugar is something that is hidden in many of the foods we eat, and it's just really amazing stuff that you would never expect to have sugar in it. Green beans, spaghetti sauce, all kinds of stuff that you would, peanut butter. Why are they adding sugar to peanut butter? Peanuts taste good all on their own, unless you're my husband, he's allergic, but I digress. Today we're going to talk about reasons why sugar is not good for you and some simple ways you can use to cut it out of your diet. The reason I'm coming to you live from inside today is, first of all, the dog barking yesterday was really annoying. And I have a lot of notes on this. You'll see me reference my notes because there's just a ton of information here, okay? So they're adding sugar to everything we eat. They're adding it to stuff we wouldn't even expect. And they're finding that up to 17% of our daily calorie intake is sugar. And it's sugar that we don't even know is there. It's just these added sugars that are in there. That's on top of the sugar we know we're eating. When you drink a Coke, you know you're drinking sugar. But, hi Jelena, if you're eating something that you're not expecting to have sugar, that alone, the sugar we don't know we're eating, is up to 20% of our daily calories, which is just a scary, scary thought. Processed foods have so much sugar in them. And obviously the first thing people think about when you're getting too much sugar is, it's going to make me fat. And that's true. It's going to cause weight gain. And one of the reasons for that is when you eat sugar, your body secretes an insulin, a hormone called insulin. And insulin tells your body, there's too much of this sugar in my blood. So go shove it into fat stores so that it's not circulating around causing damage. Because sugar in your blood that's high can damage your eyes, your kidneys, other things. So your body's trying to protect you by shoving all of this sugar and all these toxins into your fat cells. Yay, so exciting. That's what we all love having, is all these extra fat cells just stuffed full of sugar. When that happens, on top of it making you fat, you have low energy because you don't have access to that sugar. All the insulin just shoved it into your fat cells. And now you are like, I'm really, really hungry again. And it becomes this vicious cycle where you eat sugar, your blood sugar spikes, and then your insulin kicks in and your blood sugar goes way down. And you're just on this seesaw all day. It's so not good for you. One of the worst things is soda, juices, sweet teas, because there's a really simple sugar. When we talk about starches and sugars, we talk about simple and complex. And the more complex it is, the harder it is for your body to break it up, the more work it takes, and the slower it goes into your bloodstream. So simple sugars like fructose, boom, they hit you fast, they hit you hard, they spike your sugars, and then you have an insulin spike, and then you crash, and it's just not pretty. So sugary beverages, they don't curb your hunger because of the insulin response. And so people who drink sugary beverages, they tend to weigh a lot more than people who don't. And the kind of fat that they get is the visceral fat, the fat that's around all of your organs in your stomach, the dangerous kind of fat. There's plenty of us women who have extra fat on our thighs and on our butt, and we don't like that. We don't like the way it looks, but it's not the dangerous kind of fat. The fat you get when you have a lot of fructose is the fat that wraps around your organs and causes diabetes, heart disease, other conditions. So really important. Speaking of heart disease, everybody's like, oh no, you can't eat fat. Put away the butter, put away the bacon, put away all of these things that have fat in them because they're going to give you heart disease. And while you certainly need to eat these things in moderation, what really causes atherosclerosis is sugar. First of all, the sugar increases your obesity, which increases your risk of heart disease. Sugar increases your triglyceride levels, which increases your risk of heart disease. Sugar raises your blood pressure levels, which increases your risk of heart disease. And sugar itself has been linked to atherosclerosis. So if you have 17 to 20% of your calories from added sugar, which is the average in the United States, you have a 38% greater risk of dying from heart disease as opposed to those who consume only 8% of their calories from added sugar. So when you're eating those prepackaged, pre-processed foods, they're very convenient until you have your heart attack. Then they're not so convenient anymore. And I know it's hard sometimes to really work on cooking and having fresh salads and fresh whole foods, but it's so important to get rid of those added sugars. One sugary drink a day, one, like a 16-ounce Coke, very normal drink for a lot of people to have, has 52 grams of sugar. That's more than 10% of your daily consumption of all your calories in one drink. So it puts you way over the recommended limit for added sugar. Very important. For the teenagers out there, sugar has been linked to acne. Not chocolate, sugar, just the sugar in and of itself. So a diet high in refined carbs, sugary foods, drinks, lots of starches, foods with a high glycemic index that raise your blood sugar fast, they spike your insulin levels, and this increases androgen secretion, oil production, and inflammation. All of those three things together give you, yay, zits. I don't think any teenager really wants that. And certainly I've heard plenty of women my age who are like, why am I still getting these? I should not have wrinkles and acne at the same time. It sucks. So, look at your diet. How many extra carbs are you getting a day? How much extra starch are you eating that you don't need to? Because that could be a big part of the problem. I got more. Diabetes. Of course, this is a common one people think of. The excess sugar consumption definitely raises your risk of diabetes. Obesity is a huge risk factor for diabetes, which goes hand in hand with sugar and insulin. Insulin resistance, over time, your cells get tired of being yelled at by your insulin and go, take more sugar in, take more sugar in. They stop listening. Now you have insulin resistance. You still have too much insulin floating around in your system. And now you've got the sugar floating around in your system as well. And that sugar, like I said before, can cause damage to your eyes, to your kidneys, to all sorts of things. So your risk of developing diabetes goes up by about 1.1% for every 150 calories of sugar, which is about 1 can a day. So even 1 can of soda a day can raise your risk of getting diabetes, okay? Cancer. Cancer cells feed off of sugar. It's not the only thing they feed off of. They are anaerobic, so we have a hard time sometimes really figuring out how to shut them down. But we are finding that a diet rich in sugary food and sugary beverages really raises your risk of cancer. It raises your inflammation in your body and your insulin resistance. Both of those raise your cancer risk. This is personal to me. My mom has had breast cancer, thyroid cancer, malignant melanoma. Something in the genetic code for her is not working, and she keeps getting cancer. But she's very careful with her diet. We call her the broccoli queen. So she keeps beating cancer. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. She's actually donating her body to science. But honestly, it's her good diet that helps her to kill these cancer cells that start to kick in. So it's really important. They found that people who have increased sugar consumption have higher rates of esophageal cancer, higher rates of cancer of the small intestine. There was a study that showed that women who eat cookies and like sweet pastries 3 times a week or more are 1.42 times more likely to develop endometrial cancer than women who eat them less than half a time a week. So if you have like 1 sweet cookie every couple of weeks, that's a much lower risk of endometrial cancer than if you're eating it 3 or 4 times a week. And it's a complex relationship. We're still trying to understand it, but we do know that sugar feeds cancer. Sugar can raise your risk of depression. In fact, any processed foods, especially high sugar products such as cakes and sugary drinks, has been associated with a higher risk of depression. There's something about the neurotransmitters that they just don't function properly, and so sugar has a very bad effect on mental health. Super important. There was a study that showed that it was like almost 70,000 women. Those with the highest intake of added sugars had a significantly greater risk of depression compared to those with the lowest intakes. So while we think that having something sugary is going to help our mood, it might for a moment, but overall in the long term, it's going to have a detrimental effect. So we really need to look at that. Another thing for the ladies, sugar accelerates how fast your skin ages. Wrinkles are a natural sign of aging. They're going to happen no matter how well you take care of yourself, but poor food choices can speed that process up. A lot of people I know are careful not to smoke because they know that smoking will definitely make your skin look worse and you get the wrinkles around your mouth more, but then they're eating sugar and they don't realize that can do a lot of the same thing. There's what they call advanced glycation end products, AGE, which is kind of a funny little acronym for it because it ages you. And so it's a reaction between sugar and protein in your body, and it's a key factor in how fast your skin ages. So you do not want to be adding that sugar to your system to help with that. You want to have your collagen and your elastin lasting longer and keeping you younger looking. It doesn't just increase the aging of what you see, it actually increases your aging right at the DNA level. If this is a chromosome, okay, it'll have a little cap on the end, call it a telomere. And this telomere, it protects the chromosome from damage. Over time, as we get older and the cells divide, the telomeres get shorter, and that's when things go haywire, okay? But when you drink sugar, when you eat sugar regularly, it actually accelerates the shortening of the telomeres and lets things get dysregulated much sooner. In fact, 20 ounces of a sugar-sweetened soda daily equals 4.6 additional years of aging, independent of other variables. I don't know about you, I don't want to age an extra 4 years every year just because I wanted to drink a sugary soda every day. It's just not worth it. So, too much sugar in your diet leads to what we call fatty liver. Again, we hear the word fat, we think, oh, fat's bad for you. You don't want fat, fat's gonna make your liver fat. Fatty liver is actually caused by fructose and by high sugars. But fructose is the one that is exclusively broken down by the liver, and then it's either converted into energy or stored as glycogen. The liver can only store so much of it. And then it starts to add these fatty deposits over it, and then it doesn't work well. And you can actually get what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So you have people who are like, how on earth do I have a liver disease? I've never had alcohol. Well, you had a lot of sugar, and that does a lot of the same thing to your liver. Really important not to do that. Just some other health risks. Obviously, it's not good for your teeth. It increases your risk of getting gout or kidney disease. And it accelerates cognitive decline. So if you want to stave off dementia, impaired memory, you need to cut down on those sugars. It's super important, okay? So how are we going to do this? Don't drink soda. And I have to figure out where my phone went. Sorry about that, guys. Thought I had that turned off. So swap out your sodas, your energy drinks, your juice, your sweetened teas for water. Not what we talked about on Monday. Yes, drink your water. If you really want to have something sweet to go with it, I use exogenous ketones, and they have a sweet flavor to them that does not contain sugar. So if I'm looking for something sweet, that's what I'll do. But you want to get rid of the sodas and the energy drinks for so many reasons, not just the sugar, but the juices and so on. If you drink coffee, I don't drink coffee, but if you do drink coffee, drink it black or use stevia, which is a natural, zero-calorie natural sweetener. Your body doesn't freak out on it the way it does with other artificial sweeteners. If you like yogurt, buy plain yogurt. Make sure that you're getting one that doesn't have a bunch of added sugars to it. And then mix fresh or frozen berries into it instead of having a bunch of sugar that's loaded into it. If you want to eat fruit, have your fresh fruit instead of a bunch of sugar-sweetened fruit smoothies. If you want to have a smoothie, make it at home so you know what's going into it and don't add sugar. If you like candy, that's a tough one, but try trail mix instead. Have some fruits, some nuts, maybe a little bit of dark chocolate in there as opposed to heavy levels of sugar. If you like sweet salad dressings, try to learn to swap them out for things like oil and vinegar. Watch the level of how much sugar is added to your salad dressing, because now you've taken what's a really healthy meal, a salad, and you've added all this extra sugar to it. If you are buying marinades, nut butters, ketchup, marinara sauce, any of these bottle sauces type things, look at the sugar content. Make sure that they're not adding sugar. Anything that ends in OSE on the label, fructose, glucose, dextrose, maltose, those are all forms of sugar. If you see malt, if you see maple, if you see honey, agave, these are all forms of sugar, okay? If you're the kind of person who eats cereals, granola bars, you want to keep it at under 4 grams of sugar per serving. That can be hard to find sometimes, but it's worth it if that's the sort of thing you like. If you're having a big bowl of sugary cereal every morning, swap that out for fresh rolled oats, you know, like a nice oatmeal, maybe with some berries on it or some nut butter, or have an omelet with fresh greens. Just get rid of the sugary cereal. If you are someone who eats a lot of peanut butter and jelly, use banana slices instead. It's just so much better for you. Use natural nut butters. I grew up loving Nutella. That stuff is so full of sugar. There's no Nutella in our house. You really have to look at that. Avoid alcoholic beverages that are sweetened with soda, juice, honey, sugar, or agave. Frankly, I think you should avoid the alcoholic beverages altogether, but that's me. And then you want to shop the perimeter of your grocery store instead of the center. The center is where they have all of the stuff that they've added stuff to, thrown into a box, thrown into a can. Whereas the outside is where you have things that are ingredients, like fresh fruits and vegetables, okay? Keep a food diary. That's going to help you keep track of how much sugar you're eating. And sometimes just being aware of it is enough to cut it down. Now, if you have not gone to my website, lisacapron.com, and gotten your book, it's free, so I don't know what's stopping you. Just go and grab that off the site, and it's got 10 biohacks to help you take control of your health. And make sure you click down there to subscribe so you know when I'm coming on, and share this out to your friends. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to go get a glass of water and take my walk.